morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us here on KXAN Live. Will Dupree coming to you from the KXAN Live studio, and we so appreciate you all joining us for yet another live stream focused specifically on the upcoming total solar eclipse. We have been sharing some of the stories and about the preparations that a lot of communities are taking, and there is something that is pretty interesting that a lot of you are interested in reading about right now, and that's happening out in the hill country related to the eclipse. We're going to bring in the reporter who has been focusing a lot of his reporting about what's going on with this. And Eric, welcome back. We appreciate you being here again.
Yes, thank you for having me.
But I do want to mention the story that has grabbed a lot of people's attention. It's this one right here. It's the story you wrote up yesterday. The headline, "Hunker Down, Hill Country Town Advises Residents to Stock Up Ahead of April Eclipse." Eric, tell us which community this is and how you found out about this.
So this is the town of Llano. They posted, their city of Llano posted it on their Facebook page. This was ahead of the April eclipse. They had a meeting last week where they kind of reiterated some steps people need to take to prepare for this eclipse. And so they posted this on their page, giving people advice on what to do and what kind of their plans are, so that everyone is safe when the thousands of tourists who are expected to come check out the eclipse move into these smaller towns throughout the hill country, and specifically Llano, as it's one of the main ones on the path, and they want to be careful.
And I know you reached out yesterday to the community to ask if city leaders can talk about the post and kind of the language that they used. Did you hear anything back from them at this point?
I have not heard anything back. I gave them a call yesterday. I got transferred around a couple departments, but I wasn't able to track down someone who could talk to me about the eclipse. But I've talked to the Hill Country Alliance in the past, who's been advising these communities on what to do. Yeah. And this advice that the city is giving their residents is actually pretty consistent with what I've heard from both some experts in the Hill Country Alliance, but also expert eclipse chasers. I've spoken to the world's best eclipse chasers. That means they've chased the most eclipses of anyone else living. And they've told me the exact same thing that this town is being told: to hunker down if you're living in these areas. I love that language. Isn't it the best language?
It really is. There is something about an active verb, and that is definitely one of those.
That's a great, very, very Texas verb, too, which I like a lot, hunkering down.
Absolutely, and you can read Eric's story right here. It is the top story on our website right now if you want to check it out on kxan.com. Eric, though, we want to remind people that coming up in about less than a month almost, or a little over a month away, is this total solar eclipse, and the Austin area is in the path of totality. This is a map that we've been showing you in some of our previous live streams, but Eric, remind people where this exactly is going to go, because a lot of us are going to see this.
Right. All of Texas is going to get some view of this eclipse, but everyone in central Texas, for the most part, is going to get a total solar eclipse. And what this means is the moon's going to fully block out the sun. A lot of times you have other eclipses where it's partially blocking it out, and a lot of the edges of this path you're looking at right now show those spots that are just going to get a partial eclipse. San Antonio gets a 99% total eclipse, so not quite, but they're going to get pretty close. Austin gets a total eclipse. We're going to be right on that path and get over a minute of complete darkness that day. Wow. So this happens every 18 months somewhere on the planet. It happens in our area. It's every few hundred years, so you're never going to get a chance to see another one of these in your lifetime, barring some amazing medical revolution in the next decade or so. So the likelihood of you seeing another one in this area is very slight. The next one in North America isn't until 2044, and that's in North Dakota and a little bit of Montana, and it's like a sliver of that area. So you'll probably have to go to Canada if you want to see the next total eclipse in North America. So we have a bit of a delay. But yeah, it's a big event. We're expecting thousands of visitors from not just across the country, but also just across Texas. My parents, for instance, live in San Angelo in West Texas. They're going to come to Austin for that. And a lot of people are making very similar treks from these towns that are only getting partial eclipses to the path of totality that we show you on that map there.
Yeah, you saying that your parents are going to come visit. I've heard from two different friends in the last 2 weeks that they are planning trips to Austin so that they can experience the eclipse right here in Austin. So again, it is a big draw, and you've done a lot of reporting about how many of the communities, especially out in the hill country for the most part, are preparing to handle these visitors and also wanted to capitalize on it because it's a lot of extra money that they can make from it too.
Right. I read an article a few weeks ago about in the 2017 total eclipse, the state of South Carolina earned, I think it was like $250 million in that one day, just in tourist dollars. And so expect that here in Texas, much larger state, a lot bigger population centers around us, people from Houston traveling, people from New Orleans traveling, people from Oklahoma traveling, trying to get a little closer. New Mexico, these states just right around Texas, and these cities. El Paso would be a big one. I'd expect people to travel from El Paso more towards the path. So you have a lot of people moving to these smaller communities, and one thing we have going on with this Eclipse especially is it's heading across the hill country with these smaller towns that aren't necessarily designed to handle 500,000 tourists in an 8-hour period.
Yeah.
Kerrville, they're expecting about 500,000 to visit from mainly the San Antonio area, but all around to visit Kerrville, which is in that path of totality. That town's not designed to handle 500,000. I don't think Austin easily handles 500,000 new people coming to town in just a very short period of time. And we're talking hours here. It starts at 12:30, it wraps by 2:30. The total eclipse happens right around like 1:44, I think is the exact time. So you have like this very short period of time it happens in, and then you have the hours leading up to it where everyone's traveling to these spots. I'm hoping to leave this office at around 2 a.m. that day to get to a good location. But we have to be there early, so that's a different story. But people are going to be traveling super early. Some people are traveling to these smaller towns Friday beforehand. There's festivals going around in those towns. Think about Burnett is having some. Dripping Springs is doing some festivals. Ingram, just next to Kerrville, is having one. I talked to a community in Junction. Their organizers are doing one there, which is a little further west of San Antonio. So you have all these little towns that are holding these festivals that are Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They're hosting campgrounds. They're having RVs. They're going to be coming park. People are traveling for that. They're going to travel the day of. And then after the event, this is why you need to hunker down. You're going to have to travel back home. And you don't want to be on the roads when they're traveling back home. The advice from the world's best eclipse chasers, like I said, is after the eclipse, just stay where you are for a little bit. Let the traffic die out. People don't necessarily travel and go to a location with a lot of plan, is what I've been told. They may say, I'm going to go to Dripping Springs to watch the eclipse. They may not make it to Dripping Springs during the eclipse. They may just pull over to the side of the road and stop. Well, then as you're heading back, now you have to deal with that person who's pulled over on the side of the road and stopped.
Absolutely.
And it's not going to be one or two people. It's going to be thousands of people. So it's not bad advice to just grab your supplies, fill a backpack full of Capri Suns and Slim Jims. I don't think I eat very healthy, but what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what it takes to get through this.
Yeah.
In some of our past live streams, Eric, you've been joining me on Tuesday mornings to walk through some of your reporting about the preparations leading up to this and also share some safety advice. Of course, there are specific glasses that are needed for people to be able to watch this as it's happening. But for those who are visually impaired, you found out some pretty interesting things about how a team is trying to help those people enjoy this really rare experience too that's coming up on April 8th.
Right. There's a team from Harvard who, leading up to the 2017 eclipse, said, hey, not everyone's able to experience this eclipse in the same way. So we'd like to give them that opportunity. And so they've created a device that allows people who are visually impaired to hear the eclipse. They were in UT. They visited UT in January, where they're hoping to build a few of these devices. They built several hundred of these devices there. Their goal is to have 700 devices that are going to be given out freely to people who are visually impaired, so they can experience the eclipse in the way people who can see the eclipse can. Just a different methodology. It works by having a light sensor attached to a MIDI board, a MIDI M-I-D-I. If you ever played a Super Nintendo as a kid, the audio came through a MIDI board. This isn't my nerdy knowledge for y'all. The light, as light dies down, it goes from a high tone to a low tone, and then it goes to like a clicking sound, so you can experience that change in tone as the moon moves in front of the sun. And then once it's fully in totality, it just clicks, which is kind of a cool sound it makes. I think, do you have the sound? Did I get that to you?
I do. Let's experience.
Here, let's check it out.
Yeah, let's check this out, and then we'll continue our conversation on the other side. Eric, a musical quality to that for sure.
It's lovely, isn't it? They described it, I think, as like a flute to a bass, like a baritone bass, something like that. That's how that was described to me.
Yeah.
So that was really fascinating. So they're giving those out freely to people who need them. We have a link in our web story in our eclipse, kxc.com/weather/eclipse. You can get that link and you can download or go to their website so you can purchase or get a hold of those devices if you need them. They're aiming to have around 700, 750 set aside for the eclipse. And they were around 400 when I spoke to them last week. So we're going to have a bunch of those available. around across the country, and you just got to get them shipped off. And they're still making them. They have another event, I think it's next week at Harvard, where they're going to build more of the devices. So they're hoping to get that number to that 700 they really require. And after this, we have other eclipses around the world moving forward. The next one is in Greenland, passes through Greenland and Southern Europe, and that's in 2026. Like I said, it's every 18 months these total eclipses occur, and they're hoping to have more of these produced by that time, and then hopefully expand them out so people around the world can experience the eclipse when it happens for them moving forward. But again, we won't have another one here till 2044, so this is the chance you got.
Everybody get prepared for it. All right, we appreciate all the people who've been joining our live stream. I noticed a big spike in numbers, especially those on the Facebook audience. I think the headline about what's happening in Llano in particular has grabbed a lot of people's attention. We've seen that story trending on our website, but if you all want to check that out, this is the headline. Check it out on our website, kxan.com, as well as the KXAN News mobile app. It is there for you, along with all of Eric's reporting, in addition to what this One Hill Country community is telling people to do ahead of the April eclipse. But Eric Henriksen, thank you so much again for joining us. We appreciate it.
It was fun. Always fun hanging out.
Yeah, it's been fun to talk about this especially. It's a good topic.
It is. It's fun. A fun topic. Once in a lifetime topic. Let's enjoy it while we can, right?
All right, we want to get you all ready. So follow Eric with his reporting about what's leading up to this eclipse, and you can find it again on our website as well as our mobile app. That's Eric Henriksen. I'm Will Dupree. We'll see you back here another time. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon.